Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's healthy and safe at home, and thank you for participating in today's call. I know you have some questions, but before I get to you, I want to just make a couple statements about the real privilege I had of meeting Judge Amy Coney Barrett just probably 10 to 15 minutes ago. We had a very cordial and warm conversation that ranged from some of her judicial opinions to her how does she raise 7 children and have such a demanding job, where did she get her passion for the law, and other related kinds of areas. I can tell you what, she is an extremely strong, ethical, and experienced intellectual jurist. She's very committed, as she's been teaching law for years at the University of Notre Dame, and she talked about the next generation of women and girls and what it means to her, and we felt like we had common ground here to be on walking in other women's shoes, but also inspiring the next generation. It was very clear to me that she has a strong commitment to the rule of law, carefully considering the text and the history of our Constitution, and some of the challenges that brings when considering the Constitution was written, in the 1700s, and we now have all kinds of differing ways of conducting our lives. She expressed the opinion that judges are not policymakers and should instead set those beliefs behind and make her judgments independently. She's been very praised by her colleagues, whether they have like opinions in maybe politically or otherwise, which we didn't even get into what her political opinions are, but that she's very well respected in the legal community and is very fair-minded, so I look forward to the continuing of the process. She will become in front of the committee in the next 10 days, and I look forward to making the considerations as I see her. But I was very impressed today. There are some marked differences between 2016 and now, and most especially it's 2 elections. It's the election of 2016 and again in 2018, which, remember, occurred on the heels of the Kavanaugh hearing. So I would say that the election of a Republican president and a Republican Senate, and then a reaffirmation of that again in 2018 with a pickup of 2 seats, I think that West Virginians believe, as I do, that President Trump should make these determinations, should make the pick, and if we have the votes, that we should move forward. And so we have the votes to move forward. That's not the confirmation, but we have votes to move forward to the confirmation. So the difference, I do believe, is, elections have certain consequences, and this is one of them, and I think it's been reaffirmed that when presidents are of the same party as the Senate, the confirmation of Supreme Court justice has moved forward. Well, I think that, it was rough, and I don't think that it provided the information to the American voter, West Virginia voter, that people were looking for, because it got so out of control. And I certainly found at certain points hard to watch, and I'm an eager watcher. Well, number one, I'll say, and thanks, David, for the question, I would say I am very much opposed to increasing the number of justices on the Supreme Court. I mean, we've operated with 9 for quite some time, and it's worked quite well. So I think that is would be a total mistake. I think that we're not sure exactly when the vote is going to occur. I think that it seems as though once it goes through the process of Judiciary Committee and moves forward, that it would we would have then time. She was just vetted 3 years ago and voted out bipartisan so there, a lot of her background and a lot of the vetting that is done in the Judiciary Committees was done just most recently, which is very helpful, I think. So I would, I am operating under the assumption that we would probably make this vote before the election, so that whatever impacts after the election might happen wouldn't come into play. I actually saw Senator Manchin yesterday, but we didn't quite get into it. I think that if you look at a lot of the statements that were made in 2016, including those of many Democrats, and I'll let Senator Manchin decide if he's one of those or not, but we're saying we've got to move forward. We've got to move forward. So I think that there are statements all over the board from everybody, and people are saying different things right now. But I'm saying right now the circumstances are not exactly the same, as that we should move forward because we do have shared government, at least politically, from the President and the confirming body, which is the Senate. Actually, I did talk to her about this, and that her reply was much like it will be, I'm sure, in front of the committee, and that she really cannot, in anticipation of hearing any kind of a legal case, that she cannot make an opinion before she would be asked to be judged on that. But here's what I think. I think that if you look at whether the law is severable, in other words, if the individual mandate is ruled unconstitutional, then you can sever that from the rest of the Obamacare law. This is just politics. Every year that I've run, almost, it's you're going to lose your health care and you're going to lose your Social Security. So this is part of a pretty much repeating charge in an election year. But I would say that in this case that she demonstrated to me today that her legal background and her legal knowledge, even though she couldn't talk about specifically what she would do, those arguments will be carefully considered, all those arguments. I think the election in West Virginia, the primary election, was handled very, very well. We got results on time. They were accurate. There were not a lot of complaints. There was, I guess, an allegation of an issue in, I think, Pendleton County that I think the President referenced. I have full faith in the absentee ballots that are going to be beginning to be mailed out and are going to be mailed back in West Virginia. And I wish that he would. My feeling is that I feel the President should be very positive about the authenticity of mail-in votes. A lot of states are going to go all mail-in, and I think it undermines the election to plant those seeds of doubt. I don't think that this will be a rush to a vote. I think the fact that she was vetted very thoroughly 3 years ago helps shorten the process because background checks and investigations into writings have been very recent because it was less than 3 years ago. So I mean, we will do this on a time frame that we've done past votes, which will be move the testimony and everything through the Judiciary Committee, time for questions, time for character witnesses, then they'll have a vote in committee, and then it will come to the full Senate. So I think the way I look at it, the timing of this, it seems to flow very well and is not being a rushed process. The answer to that is yes and yes. I think, yes, I did talk with her about this. I think that she was very affirmative. Actually, I asked her, what was the most surprising thing from your confirmation hearing from 3 years ago? And she said the attack on her personally and her religion. We live in a country where we have freedom of religion, where people are free to express their own religious beliefs, and she can hold those, as everybody should, those beliefs close to her heart, and then be able to separate herself into her professional life, where she's judging the constitutionality of certain laws or regulations. She really has thought about this, and I think that she has a big heart, and I think that her strong faith helps her, but I think that her intellectual curiosity and sterling intellect will come through in the hearings very clearly and precisely, and her commitment to the rule of law will also be crystal clear. Well, I think this is part of just a political scare tactic that the Democrats are employing for their own political benefit. I think that I answered earlier the severability issue of the case, which is something that they'll be considering, and at the same time, the possibility that Judge Barrett would be on the bench to be able to consider that, I think she will be in good hands and wouldn't put. I mean, the people would be in good hands because she is very much committed to interpreting and the law as it is presented to us by the Constitution. So I think this is just a political scare tactic to try to get more votes.